Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. I'm your host, of course, Prickly Hedgehog, and I hope this video finds you well. I'm about to enjoy or embark on enjoying the weekend, and I hope this is the same for you, wherever you are, and you're doing well. Change of seasons, I guess, coming up here. We're starting to see greater signs of spring where I am, and for many of you, I guess, that may not be the case, or you too are enjoying, like me, signs of spring. Now, before we get into the video, of course, Eagle Dynamics, we're in a little bit of a trough right now before we see the next major wave of updates. Sorry for the rough analogy there. And this is because we have, and I reiterate from last week's newsletter, we're on a little bit of a hiatus as we wait for this 2.7 to be released. Now, this is a good thing in many respects because it's going to mark a major evolution point in the game, at least in reference to open beta. Many of these things will, of course, later be implemented in the stable version of the game. So primarily here we're talking about open beta changes. In the opening blurb here, they have mentioned, of course, we're going to talk about clouds in just a sec and what they have planned for us with regards to that. Now, how to work with this 2.7 implementation, which is exciting. But they're also talking here about the HORNET, which we mentioned is going to come out of early access, as well as the channel map. They're telling us that there's going to be substantial updates to both the HORNET and the Viper. The good news, of course, is that with the HORNET getting closer to being out of early access, that will free up personnel resources to focus on the Viper, which is obviously a long way behind, although it's still a great aircraft. But I'm looking forward to seeing that more complete and rounded out. And I haven't neglected my Viper. I haven't flown it very much, actually. I've been busy with other things. I haven't really looked at some of the stuff that has been implemented towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So I need to go back and get refamiliarized with that particular aircraft. They're also talking here updates to the channel and Syria maps. They haven't gone into specifics, but they have talked about, in general, improved fire effects. And they're also talking here enhanced structural damage modeling for the World War II aircraft, updated sound effects, new World War II propeller disc animations, and more, which is pretty open-ended. Now, if you're underwhelmed by the fact that they've done some work on the World War II birds here with regards to damage modeling, remember that the work that is done on this, some of that is actually going to transition and mate up with the jet aircraft as well. So stay tuned for, a little bit more sophistication in some of the damage modeling of the jet aircraft, which I think is exciting. So, exciting stuff, interesting stuff, but like I said, we're kind of in that trough right now as we wait for this major patch to come forth, and we'll see what happens. I'm both excited and a little bit nervous. I think, and I apologize too, the cryptic message that I put on the page last night on the YouTube channel, this is where I'm going with this, because I think Eagle Dynamics is pretty proud of what it's achieved with the clouds. They put in a little, what do you call it, image, that's the word I'm looking for, sorry, of the clouds, and just kind of left it at that. And I stole that, and I sort of said, hey, Eagle Dynamics has made a major statement about where the game is at right now, and a lot of people were looking for the specifics, but really all it was a picture of the clouds. And some of you got it, and some of you didn't. I wasn't trying to be overly cryptic, just wanted to have a little bit of fun, because I know a lot of us are very excited about the clouds and that extra element of immersion. Some people are critical of it and are worried about the reduction in frame rate and stuff like that, so we'll have to wait and see exactly. So, I'm with you a little bit. I am a little bit nervous about that, but I'm also excited to see what it looks like just in general terms. So what else is going on here? We'll come back to clouds in just a bit. We have some stuff about the P-47D livery contest. So 10 lucky winners actually ended up not only producing some pretty decent looking skins, and there are some very talented people in the community, but they also picked up a Mosquito Mark 6, which I'm sure if you're into the warbirds and you've produced a livery for the P-47D, then I'm sure that's a great prize for you. It also kind of hints a little bit as to where we are with that particular aircraft, I think, and hopefully it's going to be released as part of this 2.7 update, but stand by to stand by. It sounds like a lot of things going on at once, so let's hope it all transitions smoothly. and as we should expect, because last year when we had a major update around about this time, things didn't go quite as smoothly as they should have. So I think Eagle Dynamics is smart enough to figure out that that wasn't the best, and I don't think they'll be looking to repeat any mistakes like that. So, and based on what we've seeing so far, again, I think they're pretty proud of what they've achieved, and these little sneak peeks at the clouds, I think we're going to see more of that over the next few weeks, as somebody hinted. Alright, so congratulations to those lucky people that got the winning mosquitoes. And if you are using a mod, or if you're wondering where to find those things, there are plenty of places on the forums for cool stuff like that, say missions or liveries and other custom art that you can put onto your favorite aircraft in the game. There are tutorials covering how to do this as well, which I'm not going to get into today, but let me know if you are using a mod of some kind, whether that's an aircraft that isn't a third-party pay-for, one of those freebie mods, or some other mod or skin that you really enjoy. Let us know below. Share the knowledge, because there's a lot of stuff out there from, like I said, very talented people in the community, but you don't necessarily always know that until you start digging around into the forums, which can be a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of information there, and stuff is buried in there, and you may be using something that other people aren't aware of, and share some of that love, because there are some, as I said, there's some talented people, and there's some cool stuff out there. Alright, let's look back further a little bit more at the P-47D as well. They have given us a little bit of a promotion of this aircraft, which again looks pretty decent. I haven't flown it. I know some people really do enjoy it. Now, the blurb here about the aircraft basically says that the Thunderbolt was so well built and such a rugged piece of machinery that pilots referred to it as an aircraft that they could fly through a brick wall and live to survive the event. Now, the Thunderbolt was nicknamed the Jug. It served in the United States Army Air Forces, or USAAF. This is pre-US Air Force and Army separation. In both the European and Pacific theaters, there were about just over 15,500 aircraft built, between 41 and 45 where they flew, and many countries, including France, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, Mexico, and Brazil, also operated the Thunderbolt to great success. So it's not an aircraft I'm all that familiar with, but it does have a pretty decent reputation, and obviously it's the forerunner to the famous modern Thunderbolt, which many of us are well familiar with. Now, it did excel in the role of a fighter bomber due to its heavy armament, rugged construction, and the Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp radial engine that was extremely reliable and capable of absorbing serious enemy fire, always a bonus in a combat environment, and hence its flow on to the modern version. In addition to the impressive 8 50 caliber machine guns with 425 rounds per gun, the Jug was armed with bombs and rockets in the ground attack role. Now, it did see action as an escort role for bombers, but eventually that was replaced with the P-51 Mustang, which had a longer range and also higher performance as a fighter. Nevertheless, as I said, the Thunderbolt is a rugged aircraft and well respected. So, cool. Let me know what you think. If you fly the Thunderbolt, let me know what you think of it. I don't get a lot of feedback on the World War II aircraft, because it's, again, kind of a separate niche within this genre. And people that do swear by the World War II aircraft, not necessarily always commenting on the stuff on the jets side of things. Not that it's a rivalry or competition, but just because people have their own niches within this community, which is cool. It's a big enough community to do that. Alright, you're saying, what the hell's up with clouds? Let's get to it prickly. What's going on with clouds? So the development progress is as follows. What they've actually done is, we're not going to see, I don't think, a dynamic cloud system from the outset. What they've done here is, to simplify mission creation and weather selection, they have designed a large number of cloud presets, which are convenient to select from the mission editor. And they've added in a few thumbnails for good measure, so that we can kind of see what will be available. Now, it looks pretty cool. We've got, like I said, sort of different strata or layers of clouds that we can use here. And, based on what I'm seeing here, it's going to provide some really interesting flying environments, as well as some challenges. If you saw Tactical Pascal's video this week on laser-guided bombs for the F-18 Hornet, he mentioned that, LGB stuff could be affected by the weather, and that's going to create a, challenge for completing mission roles and having to maybe, switch things up, which again, it sort of adds to that level of immersion and realism that we like as sim pilots and in this particular genre and in this particular game, which has been missing. The clouds were relatively basic. Now, like many of you, there is some hesitation and maybe some concern about what impact this is going to have on the game, and maybe that Eagle Dynamics even should be working on other things to bring the game up to spec before they include the clouds. So fingers crossed it doesn't have, it's not a frame killer. But I think a lot of people are also realistically sort of arguing, well, it may be, and that's going to destroy my enjoyment of the game. The good news, of course, is that it's not a permanent thing. You can obviously adjust it, and you can make your own missions regardless with the status quo until, we've got some of the other software architecture issues ironed out, which hopefully will occur this year. That Vulkan API, the ability of the hardware basically to take advantage of the built-in software, or at least it's going to be the reverse actually. In this case, it's going to be making sure the software is able to operate with the modern architecture of hardware, primarily multi-core processors and stuff like that, and the modern graphics cards. So, yeah, lots of discussion about this. I mean, we could talk about this forever, and it's kind of a complex topic that I only have a scratching understanding of. It's interesting stuff. So, anyway, somebody just told me that my post earlier about the clouds was worse than a dad joke. So, Jet 4 Light, you're welcome. Jet 4 Liter. Is that what I'm reading there? It's worse than a dad joke. All right, that just popped up in my feed there. All right, that means this video has gone on for too long. Apologies again. This is a short video. I hope you're enjoying the flying right now. Let me know what you're working on. I just got back into the gym in the last month and lost 6 pounds. The arms are growing. Getting back into shape again, which is a nice feeling. So I hope you're able to enjoy the spring, summer coming up. Although it could be potentially tumultuous too, depending on where you're working or where you're living and what your perspective is on life. So let's hope for a non-tumultuous beginning to the year, and enjoy some flying, enjoying the change of seasons, and getting on with life. Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. This is Prickly Hedgehog out. Take care.